Hello lads and lasses, TRZ Plays here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Tier 4 Premium Japanese cruiser Yahagi. I know, TRZ talking about a Japanese ship, and this time not in a negative light. What else did you see? And basically what I'm going to talk about is how you can play this ship, and thankfully I've had a friend actually teach me how to play Yahagi effectively, especially because of the fact that it has engine boost, and he actually showed me a good speed build, which if he's watching this video, thanks. And his name is actually Belfast in the Gaza Gaming Discord. For that I'm going to say thanks, my friend. And let's talk about the history of Yahagi. Now, Yahagi is an Agano class light cruiser, of which 4 were built: Agano, Noshiro, Yahagi, and Sakawa. They were the successors of the Sendai class, but eventually they themselves were succeeded by the Oyodo class, of which only 1 was built. Now, out of all of them, Yahagi is probably, if not the most popular out of all of them, because Yahagi was involved in missions with Yamato and Shokaku, which is why it has probably one of the most popular reputations among Japanese cruisers. Besides its playstyle, which can be very toxic, especially when it comes to a speed build, Yahagi was sunk on the same day as Yamato, on the 7th of April. If I remember correctly, it is indeed the 7th of April, where both Yahagi and Yamato went under. And I believe it was called Operation Tango. Correct me if I'm wrong, because my knowledge on the Pacific Front is disastrous. Now, that's not about the history. I would make a series going in depth with history, but I wouldn't want to go too in depth. Let's talk about the commander, Gunichi Mikawa. Now, for inspirations, I have Carl von Muller and Norman Scott. Now, my friend Belfast recommended the use of AL Baltimore. If you have Baltimore, use her. I don't, because I'm not a weeb. That's a joke, by the way. And I would mostly go for either Norman Scott or Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov if you want range, Scott if you want the shell grouping to be effective. Then we have his base trait, which is Clandestine, which increases concealment. This can be even more toxic, especially at range, which is why you could also use Kuznetsov as well as Norman Scott. Now, we have Ingenious, which is also a skill that Lucians shares, which also has a warning indicator showing the number of ships currently targeting you, which is very useful. And it also increases main battery traverse speed for cruisers, which is also a like. And it improves resilience of modules against HE shell damage. So your engines or any form of module that you have, including main battery, will be a little bit more difficult to knock out. Then we have Full Speed Ahead, which increases the maximum speed for your cruisers, and also enhances the rudder shift. Sorry for my speech impediment, because I tend to screw up the basics of words. Velocious, which increases the maximum speed of the ship. Again, this is a speed-orientated build. And we have Acoustic Chamber for the sonar consumable duration. Then we have Fully Packed for a Legend skill, to gain 1 additional charge for each consumable. Now, in terms of consumables, this Yahagi has a lot to its advantage. It has damage control party, which is obvious. It has 4 sonar charges, especially with fully packed on. So it increases detection of torpedoes and detection of ships. Catapult fighter, because you can't equip spotters on cruisers and never will. And also engine boost, which is the main reason why I went for a speed build. By the way, thanks again Belfast for the recommendation. It also has a camo, like most premium ships, and it has a flag. Again, it also details the history of the this particular Agano class light cruiser. Now, we'll talk about the upgrade. The upgrade, I went for aiming systems because of the dispersion. I mostly like my dispersion, which is why I often go for aiming systems. Unfortunately, ships like the American battleships don't have that, so you have to go with main battery mod, or in the case of Massa or Arkansas, maybe Texas, secondary battery. So for Yahagi, I'm going to recommend aiming systems. Armor wise, it's nothing much to gawk at. God help you if you are caught broadside or screw up and overangle like what I did. Which is also the main reason why some of my worst ships are there, because of my pure hatred, because of the many times I've embarrassed myself playing them. Now, Yahagi, hefty citadel. Has a hefty citadel. Above the waterline, but again, the stealth part will pretty much show you how effective you can be in Yahagi, i.e. kiting away or firing at range. Yahagi excels at both. Unless you meet the Pyotr Veliki or pretty much anything with the Soviet hammer and sickle on it. Especially Gangut or Nikolai. Or pretty much anything can delete this time, come think of it, with a good AP salvo to that giant citadel. But most of the time they won't be shooting your citadel because they can't see you. That was pretty much it for Yahagi. Now, I recommend Yahagi. Will she come back? It's questionable whether she will come back. Most likely not, knowing that Nikolai had the same treatment. She came back with Agile and probably never will come back for Nikolai. So I do recommend Yahagi if she does come back, which is a slim chance, if not slim to none. So that's pretty much my talk about Yahagi. Then we'll get into the gameplay I recorded with it, which also happens to be one of the best games I've ever had on a Japanese cruiser.
Attention, cible repérée à cette position. 戦闘機起動中。戦闘機発艦。エンジンブースト始動。全艦援護射撃を求む。了解。戦闘機起動中。前方に魚雷確認。前方に魚雷確認。前方から魚雷接近。エンジンブースト解除。